Evo and Dignitas into the Champ Select picks and bans about to start raining down upon us. Yet Win in charge of the picks and bans, and they're going to start it out with a Skarner ban, as they do love rolling out of the jungle there with some Skarner lately.
Well, the Skarner, you'd think immediately, wait, what, Skarner's first ban? But from what I've heard is that Skarner's very popular in the Korean scene, and that Dignitas has picked up some of that with their time over there, and that they actually have been playing a lot of Skarner since they've come back.
Yeah, we got a good look at it at the TSM Invitational this weekend, and no slouch on the Skarner play. He builds up tanky kind of no matter what, so he's a fun pick if you can get a peel on a carry with that ultimate. You end up in really nice shape for a team fight. Malphite coming out. Vlad going to be taken out of the top lane or mid, wherever they want to take him. Zyra out as well, even though it has kind of classically been Scar that wants to play him. Probably a nice way of saying I'm not really interested in that first pick on the TSM Evo side means I got to make sure Zyra's not out there, just in case.
I'm not surprised to see the Zyra bans. I do hope that we'll get to see her in one of these games tonight. I don't think that we will, but I would enjoy seeing her just because she's the new champion. But general consensus is that she is extremely strong, but possibly overpowered. Is quite likely to be addressed in a future patch. Let's just put it that way. The ultimate of hers is really, really good. So we have seen her banned in every game that we've done tonight so far. This is the third game we've done. She has been banned in all of them. Then Nunu and Shen coming out as the final bans, and a first pick of Alistar.
Yep. Nunu, Shin, Alistair. Like you said, Alistair out. He's seen a lot of work in the jungle of late, but yet certainly capable of taking care of business down bottom with Alistair himself. So that one's still kind of up for debate where he's going to end up. Nocturne out as the first pick for Dignitas. At least that's what they're sitting on for the moment. Now Crumb's up to select for the 1 and 2 spots on Dignitas. And I've noticed that some of the teams have been, the sort of the AD and AP carries. If they're trying to hide something, they tend to pick their AP and AD carries kind of first, which used to be the kind of information that you held close to your chest. But lately, those bot lanes are figured out, and the spoilers tend to be sort of top lane and jungle a lot more lately.
It's been the case for a little while now that mid and top are the lanes that get less picked because people try to counterpick those lanes. It's top and mid are the lanes that are sort of most susceptible to snowballing. Bottom's a little harder to do so because of the support, because there's usually lots of wards around bottom lane. So we usually do see top or mid as sort of the last pick, using that counter pick. We do actually have the 2 picks. The Nocturne, not a surprise, considered to be one of the top junglers, has been for a long time now. Ezreal as well has really come on in the last, I'd say, about 2 months or so. People really liking Ezreal, loving that mobility. So going to be grabbed as the first AD. And then on the other side, Graves Blitzcrank coming out. So it looks like it's going to be Blitzcrank in bottom lane, and it looks like it's going to be jungle Alistar for Evo over there.
Yeah, and yet often called the God Hand, and he really is a scary man with Blitz behind him. If you can get those pulls, especially with Graves down there, it's trouble. Ezreal going to be one of the few that can get away from that. Let's see what they pick on the support side, because that could start to be a problem as well. I mean, obviously, Janna's going to be able to buy some time to try to get away if it ends up being a Janna support down bottom, but there are a lot of people, a lot of support champs that'll have trouble getting away from it. Patoy going to be bringing Lulu to the party, and that's one of those that's going to have a little bit harder of a time getting away from a Blitzgrave combo if a pull manages to land.
There we go. You mentioned before this match that you had seen Lulu being played by Patoy for Dignitas there. So nice to see. We've actually been seeing some Lulu support in the matches that we've been doing tonight. And then Skara insta-locking Karthus there. Karthus, of course, a great mid champion, really useful for his global ultimate, a great chance just to farm up. Something that Skara likes to do. Skara generally doesn't gank that much. He's more likes to stay mid and just farm up his champions. But the thing is, when you pick Karthus early, he's susceptible to counterpicking, and we might be seeing that happen right here by Evo. Talon is a huge counter pick to Karthus, so we might very well see Talon actually being played mid. Talon destroys Karthus if you get that matchup in mid, so let's see if they hold on to that or if they swap to something else. But again, that early lock-in on Karthus means you can get counter picked really badly, and that might be what Evo's doing here. No, they're going to switch.
At the last moment.
But Caston is also a huge Karthus counter pick, so they are definitely picking around Karthus. So maybe Dignitas might have wanted to hold off until that last pick, but decided not to, and now they're going to have to play a disadvantageous matchup in mid.
Yeah, especially there's plenty of options out there because Ari's fallen off the ban list. So you bring Karthus out, Ari's almost always still on the menu. And like you were saying with Talon, man, Talon is the anti-mage. He is just so good. That hop in the silence is terrifying. But Cassidy going to be doing a fantastic job of that himself with pretty much a really similar kit. I'm a cutie pie, now the last one up to pick for Dignitas, and they've got to round out their top lane most likely, unless they're doing the craziest thing. I've seen it in Europe like once or twice. It's sort of the higher level ELOs, at least on the rank ladder over there. They'll take Nocturne onto lane, which I don't expect to see in A anytime soon. But yeah, I liked
Yeah,
it.
I
It was
have
interesting.
I have heard that actually, the laning Nocturne top. I'm not sure how effective it is, but it is unusual. Instead, we get the Aurelia pick.
Yeah,
Aurelia, pretty much
much more
always a
standard. Yeah.
safe top pick, just a very safe top pick. If you're able to get farmed up, can become just so strong later on. And I believe that I've seen Dignitas play Aurelia top quite a bit in the past. I mean, they've had different top laners, but they have used Aurelia in a lot of their team comps. So, as expected, it's going to be Lulu and Ezreal in bottom lane against the Graves and Blitzcrank picks, and then we're going to have Aurelia against Jax up in top lanes. I'm not entirely sure where Jax is in this kit right now. It feels like he's always either like really strong and everyone's picking and banning him, or then he gets nerfed and then nobody picks him, and he kind of goes back and forth between those two statuses. So I'm not exactly sure where he is right now because he's kind of gone back and forth quite a bit over the last couple months. But we will see how he fares against Aurelia in this particular matchup.
Yeah, and they did really babysit him there for a good while. It was all just like little tiny buffs, quality of life changes, just about every patch for like 5 patches. But he feels like he's kind of landed in an okay spot where if he gets shut down early, much like any top laner, he has trouble coming on later on in the game. You could say the same thing about Aurelia. If she really gets taken out of the fight early on, she can have a lot of trouble. So he feels like he's in a good spot, especially to be going up against an Aurelia. Whoever can get the better of it, whoever sees sort of the better looks from the jungle. And in this case, Alistair's going to be able to come out of the jungle a little bit earlier than Nocturne in general. Might not be the case with I Will Dominate coming out of the jungle, but it could be that Jax gets off to a better start early on if things go that way. But you never know before the game how the game's going to go.
I think you made the key point right there, which is that lane's really susceptible to snowballing one way or the other, but it doesn't inherently go one way or the other, but depending on what the junglers do, it can go very hard
Yeah.
one way or the other, and I would expect that the junglers are going to pay attention to that top lane right there. The other thing is that bottom lane is also a sort of a feast or famine lane, the lane that Evo's running. Any lane with Blitzcrank, you either destroy the lane and come out way ahead, if he's able to land those pulls, he's able to get a couple early kills, or he doesn't land his pulls, he doesn't land his grabs, and you fall behind and you have no sustain, and you just get completely destroyed. So such a feast or famine lane right there in terms of how that bottom lane works. So I actually don't really like playing against Blitzcrank because whoever dies first in lane, you usually lose the lane off of one kill sometimes with Blitzcranks. But it does make for good viewing on stream because there tends to be a lot of exciting plays, and you really have to keep an eye on that particular lane. But we'll see. Ezreal Lulu has a lot more poke, Graves, Blitzcrank a lot more burst. So kind of a standard trade-off there.
Yeah, and I gotta say, yet on the Blitz is pretty much the best you could hope for. Patoy, kind of new to these matchups for me. I've seen him play a couple times, of course, but I haven't seen him go up against a Blitzcrank, and he does like to play a bit more aggressive. And of course, with Lulu, she's kind of built with that as the idea. Most of her kit is built around interaction with the enemy champ. You can give speed boosts and shields. The shield's very much a help out your teammate, but the speed boost, that's kind of maybe you can initiate with it a little bit later on, but it works much better as that polymorph to help out your teammate bot lane early on. So it's going to be very dangerous for Patoy if he gets himself out of position. Like I say, he's going to have a hard time getting away. But he's a solid player, man. I'm not concerned about that, but it's pretty much down to whether or not Yut can force to capitalize on that. And if Don't Mash Me is in sync enough with Yut so far that they're able to really capitalize on any hooks he does get.
And don't forget too that Lulu has one of the slowest base movement speeds in the game. She's base movement speed 300. She's incredibly slow until you get boots. If you're not running some kind of extra movement speed, either. I mean, I guess you could run movement speed Quints, although I don't think you'd want them on a support. But she is really slow, and so that doesn't combine that well with Blitzcrank's overdrive. So that could be a little bit troublesome. We'll see. Also, do want to mention Salsi has brought teleport on Kassadin, which is kind of interesting because you think Kassadin already has all this mobility, but he's going to take teleport on top of that too. So he's going to have that ability to move around the map. We saw we did in the previous series that we just did. We saw Karthus in the last game with teleport that just sort of horribly backfired and didn't work out at all. So we'll see if this works out. But Salsi, again, these are the actual accounts the players use. These are their main accounts. We're not on Tournament Realm. We're on the normal League of Legends client. So that means the players are on their normal accounts. And that means Salsi has brought Festival Kassadin, a skin that you don't see very often, from the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. So that just has really made my day, just getting to see Festival Kassadin in this particular match here. So well done, Salsi, for bringing that skin. My compliments to you, good sir.
Yes. I always like the super rare skins. They always have sort of fun and interest. Well, not necessarily the World Cup ones. I'm ready for them to do some more exciting stuff like that, though. Get us some fun event-based skins.
I was really surprised that Riot didn't do Olympic skins for the ones that are going on right now. I really thought that they would, but I guess not. I guess not. We'll see. But I do enjoy when they do the special event ones. I mean, this Kassadin skin is just a horrible palette swap. I mean, it's a really bad skin. But some of the skins that are that hideous are kind of amusing just because they are so bad. Something like King Ping Twitch or Shamrock Malphite, just because they are so bad, they become great skins because of their terribleness. But anyway, the match is starting, and Evo has a tremendous level 1 team. They have Blitzcrank and Alistar, so Dignitas could be in big trouble if there's a fight here. So we'll see if Evo's likely going to try to force the action. We'll see if they can catch somebody from Dignitas.
Yeah, they're waiting on that tri-brush, and there's nobody there. Got Crumbs over in the gank bush, and some kind of magical insight from Crumbs there lets him know that they're going to head into the tri-brush. They don't even check the gank bush, just going to head straight on into that, and got to get some information about that. They're going to move over towards red, and nothing's going to come of it as the rest of Dignitas is pretty well spread around.
Right now, Dignitas has no desire to fight this level 1 whatsoever. There is very little chance that they can come out on top. Even Graves is really good in a level 1 because of his buckshot. But with Alistar and Blitzcrank, if anyone gets caught out of position, they're going to get bursted down immediately. So Dignitas is going to be very happy just to sit back, just to try to split up, make sure no one gets caught. And we didn't see any attempt to go for the blue buff of Nocturne. So they might have been playing a little bit of mind games there to thinking that Dignitas is going to go for red because they would expect an invade on blue, but as it is, Nocturne's not going to be bothered at all on his initial jungle clear, and he's going to be, I Will Dominate's going to be really happy with that.
Yeah, and a nice call from Evo just to try and head over for it. You have those aggressive Nox that like to start at the red and then make like a quick level 2 look up top. You do have Crumbs in running interference. He's going to get the counter-strike landed, but Unstoppable just working on picking up red buff while Wings of Death basically tanks out whatever he brings to the party. They get that red buff finish up. I'm a Cutie Pie joins the fight, and the flash over is forced out. 3 flashes spent, ignite down, and he is not getting clear of that one. First blood to I'm a Cutie Pie. A nice reaction there out of Dignitas to make them pay for that red steal and send it over to their AD carry to start the game up.
Yeah, that did not work out the way that Evo was expecting right there. They actually have their AD and support in mid, of all things, and they're doing this to try to counter Kassadin. They're going to try to make it so he can't farm. And what's really bad here is Ezreal got red buff off that, so Kassadin is going to be in all kinds of pain. Poor Salsi. He's not going to be able to farm at all right now. So again, more Unorthodox sucks. And I Will Dominate actually stole the red, and now he's coming mid as well, too.
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest setups ever. Salse going to catch a Q off of both the support and the jungler, and he is not having a good time. Will Scar have a better time down bottom? It looks like he's going to pick up the Wraiths and just kind of leave himself out of this one. Up top, Crumbs and Wings of Death still going at it. They're sitting at about half health. You got I Will Dominate waiting in the wings over here. Unstoppable going to swing through mid. Still hanging out over there. Blue ping coming down. Pings, are they going to start up on Salsa here? They are being very aggressive from the get. Land another Q, another shot off of I'm a Cutie Pie, but Nocturne is disengaged, so he's not going to be able to capitalize. Scar having trouble down bottom as well. Going to be interesting to see how this one turns out through the longer game, as Scar can probably farm pretty well under tower, but with that Blitzcrank sitting there, it's terrifying as all get out.
Yeah, I Will Dominate has now stolen a blue buff as well. He's actually stolen both the red and the blue away from Evo right now, although his own red was taken in an earlier steal. So he has really stolen a lot of buffs, and that's going to set Alistar a long way behind. Both mid laners, Karthus and Kassadin, are just in all kinds of trouble right now because they're 1v2ing, but Karthus does do a better job of 1v2ing than Kassadin does. So there's that teleport from Salsi to get back so that he's going to be able to claim some of this experience. But yeah, this particular switch does favor Dignitas. Just as long as Karthus doesn't get pulled, now that's a tall order. If he gets pulled, he will die instantly. But as long as he doesn't get pulled, Skara should be able to come out on top in this particular 1v2 weird thing that they're doing. They want to try to keep Salsi from hitting level 6 as long as possible right now. But what a weird game we've got here going early on.
Yeah, Salsi having all kinds of trouble. Skara now looking like he might be in a little bit of trouble.
Skara's going to get dived here.
They already were toying around with that idea out in front of the turret. In come the cannon minions to buy time. Out comes Unstoppable Skara. Where do you go with this one? Nowhere. Just going to pop the AoE. Gets to the other side of the turret. Yet gets clear of the buttons as well. Don't mash me going low. And Skara coming out of that one pretty much as good as he possibly could have. Top side, Wings of Death in trouble as the fear lands. He gets the stun onto both Crumbs, and I Will Dominate, and he's gonna actually get out of that one without taking any real damage whatsoever. I'm a cutie pie now, just going up against Salsa straight up, putting some damage down onto the tower, and Lulu's going to make an appearance bottom. Not sure if they're going to switch entirely. Scar looks like he's headed back bottom, so just going to give him the Lulu support bottom possibly. Now she's headed back.
Yeah, they could if they wanted. They could just keep Lulu down there to support Karthus. I mean, it would be really weird, but they could do that and just have Ezreal stay 1v1 mid against Kassadin here. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could potentially. So it's hard to say who's come out ahead at this point. Dignitas does still have the gold lead, but I feel like that gold lead is more from the jungle steals that they've done than from the laning thus far. I'm a cutie pie taking a little bit too much damage mid. He tanked the tower shot there. Salsi has almost managed to get to level 6, and he will, once he gets his Rift Walk, he will be able to survive this lane a lot better, but he's actually getting set up for a potential dive here as well. No, I Will Dominate is pulled back, but maybe if they might try to go for this if they push the minions up the tower. We'll have to keep an eye on mid.
Yeah, with him headed back, looks like they may just leave it. Salse is up and in close. He's just putting down damage, and they're outright ignoring him. I think they're going to take out mid to try to give possibly Karthus a chance to head back up there and deal with casting a little bit better, as he'll have a wider range of room to walk around. Pushing this one straight back into the tower. Not going to be able to continue in onto it, though, as Salse's putting out a little too much damage.
So let's just try to see who is coming out ahead of this. Kassadin has right around 29, right around 30 minion kills. Karthus only on 20. So Kassadin, despite everything he's gone through, coming out a little bit ahead in this particular trade. Skara's going to get more minion kills here. He's going to get a big wave on the tower, so it's going to equalize it somewhat. So I guess that it's relatively even between the two of them there. Despite all the craziness that we've seen thus far, it's relatively equal between those two, but what an odd game, what an odd sequence we've seen thus far. The one thing that I will say Dignitas has pulled out an advantage is their jungler is ahead. I Will Dominate is definitely ahead of Unstoppable right now in the jungle, just because he was able to steal all those buffs earlier. So yeah, the AD and support mid. I don't know that I've ever seen this in a tournament game before. I have seen it in solo queue, but this is quite rare. And I guess their goal is they just really want to shut down Salsi, and they want to prevent him from going and ganking other lanes, which is kind of what Kassadin likes to do. So, yeah. Unusual, very unusual.
And what a crazy call to just kind of make on the fly, you know, like, hey, do you think you can handle bot lane by yourself? He's like, well, I'm going to get shut down by Kassadin either way, so I need to go down there. And they might switch it back up after they get that tower down. They certainly put some concerted damage onto it. Patoy helping push the lane over, so they may just want to, as quickly as possible, get this mid-outer down, and that way Skara can head back mid. He's going to come over and pick up Wraiths now, sort of both jungling at the same time, and Salse trying to get through those minions as quickly as possible while I'm a cutie pie goes to work on the tower. He's going to be able to finish it up. That one taken care of. Crumbs and Wings of Death going at each other up top. The Ignite comes out, but Wings of Death gets clear with his jump. Mid-outer tower down in favor of Dignitas early on, 8.5 minutes off the clock. They're up 1.5k gold, and will that signal Scar's return to mid lane now that he'll have more room to move around?
I don't know. I don't even want to make any predictions because I don't know what they're going to do. But that is a very fast tower kill in middle lane to take middle tower that quickly. Oftentimes you see the teams not want to take the towers too early. If they feel like they're ahead, they want the towers to sit there and eat minions. But I feel as though Dignitas wanted to grab that one because it will provide less safety for Cassidy. He won't have a tower to retreat back to farm safely. And because they've also been invading a lot. Now, if you look at the two junglers right now, I will dominate 35 minion kills. Alistar only 20. So Alistar is way, way, way behind, and they've just been invading. And by taking that tower mid, they do open it up to more jungle invasion. So, yeah, I feel like they're just trying to shut down Kassadin and trying to set back Alistar, and they've done that quite successfully because those are the two big gankers on Evo, and neither one has really been able to gank in this game because of that weird game plan. So far it seems to be working for Dignitas, and they're actually going to go and they're going to get this dragon easily right now because Alistar's up near top lane, and he's nowhere close to dragon.
Yeah, there were 3 up top. That dragon goes down for free. Yudin just a little too late, tries to grab it with the God Hand, but was denied. And Crumbs has really been having a good time up top. He's got, well, his ward coverage just ran out. If they had tried that gank about 15 seconds later, that might have gone completely differently, but Crumbs able to get away from the 3-man attempt up top. Since Crumbs back home, and I will dominate Patoy, and I'm a cutie pie heading down, as by and large, the laning phase is still on. This pressure that they put on to mid early on here, just over 10 minutes of play, might help them out later on down the line. Not going to be able to put any in there as Alistar was in the area to help clear the lane quickly.
Well, this is one way that you can deal with someone like Kassadin who wants to roam around the map and gank, is if you just keep him perpetually shoved up against his own tower, then he can't roam the map because he won't, he'll be losing too much farm, or he'll just have his tower taken. So I feel like that's how they're trying to counter this. We see Cutie Pie now heading down the bottom lane, so I'm not quite sure what they're doing. It looks like this might actually be an Ezreal gank. How often does the AD gank? But it looks like that's kind of what they're doing here right now. Now, the downside is nobody can farm mid for Dignitas while the tower is so shoved up because they can't push. But they might just be trying to just push lanes. They're kind of going for almost a pushing strat here. Already gotten mid tower. Now if they can push and start to take these side towers as well, and they could really start to make even more inroads on the jungle of Evo. But it's just been such an unorthodox game. I sort of hesitate to make any predictions, just trying to figure out what they're going for here. All I can really say is they want to shut down Alistar and they want to shut down Kassadin, and they've done that pretty successfully thus far. Yeah,
Alistar sitting a full 2 levels behind Nocturne on that side. Crumbs in trouble with the Ignite burning. Ult comes in from Wings of Death. Salse's there to finish off Aurelia, but can Wings of Death get clear? Fear burns. Karthus ult coming down. Not looking good for him. He gets clear. The counter-strike at the right time and gets out of there. Salse in, runs into Cutie Pie. That couldn't have gone worse for him. Jumps right over the Ignite burning. No way to finish that one. I'm a Cutie Pie. He takes him out without a problem.
Yeah, Pulsefire Ezreal using his whatever that cannon's called and able to pick that up. Now Skara getting dived in bottom lane. Using the exhaust on Don't Mash Me though, and Mash Me taking a lot of tower damage right here. Oh, the flash, is he going to pick this up? Oh, nicely done.
Double kill! With the help from the turret, he gets the double kill. I will dominate. Too stoked about that. Top outer turret going to go down as a little prize, little cherry on the cake right there. 3.5k gold lead through 12 minutes of play, and Skara buying just enough time to get himself a double kill in response to a tower dive. Made them pay in a big way for underestimating an AP by himself bottom.
Wow, that was so well done by Skara. He used his exhaust onto Graves, onto Don't Mash Me's Graves, and then he flashed right out of attack that was going to kill him, and he's just staying alive long enough for those tower shots to keep doing their work. That, along with Death Defy passive and some nice lay waste, Karthus Q, able to pick that one up, but just so well played. Really, really nicely done, and now Dignitas is really in good shape. They're almost up to a 4,000 gold lead. And Karthus has actually managed to get a 12-minute Rod of Ages despite everything, thanks to the global gold. He's got the global gold from the dragon and the 2 tower kills, and then that double kill just feeding him so much gold. So, I mean, his CS is awful, but he's still got quite a bit of gold, thanks to all the globals. So Karthus is in pretty good shape.
Even with that, he's still only a single CS, and yeah, it's 2 CS now behind Kassadin, who's been having a rough time himself mid. 2-2-1, it's 1-1-0 for Kassadin mid, and it is a 4-man, 5-man setup on bottom here. Are they just going to push this last outer turret down? We saw Dignitas really wasting no time pushing towers down over the week in the TSM Invitational. and really showing that aggressive strat that doesn't focus on champions. It's about primary objectives, and I mean, really, that's the game for you for the most part. If you can get those primary objectives down, it gives you time to move around and really take more advantage of other people being out of position when they're forced to stay in their lane. 3K gold lead going to extend out a little more here as this outer turret goes down without a fight.
It's just such a different style of play that we're used to seeing in North America. I can definitely tell how Dignitas has been influenced by the Korean League of Legends scene. Just putting their clear priority is taking these outer towers. Like they've made that their number one goal. We want to take towers as quickly as possible to open up the map. They're doing a great job of it. They've got all 3 of the outer towers already at the 14-minute mark. Again, it's just very different from what we see in the North American scene, and it's refreshing to see such a style change. But it seems to be working out really well for them because that global gold has put them in a very comfortable position, and it's allowing I Will Dominate to come in and keep invading in the jungle over and over again. He's gone for another invade at blue right now, and he's actually caught Wings of Death.
Yep, bot outer tower goes down at the start of that one. Fear down on a Wings of Death. Dominate going to catch the stun, but in comes Crumbs. Patoy below. The hop is going to get him clear, and they're just going to go for a steal here. Secondary objective control strong with the Dignitas team. They're going to get that one over to I Will Dominate.
Yeah, Salsi's gotten 1 blue buff. The other 2 have been stolen by Dignitas. So if Kassadin's not able to get those blues, he definitely becomes a lot weaker. It's just much harder for him to farm up in lane because he's going to run out of mana really quickly when he's using his silence to try to farm creep. So, I mean, those invasions really add up over time. And if you look at the bottom part of the jungle right now, Dignitas has wards everywhere in the jungle. They've got one at red, they've got one at the entrance by Wraiths, and they've got a third one over in the entrance by the double golems. And then they've got 2 more wards in the brush on the top side of the map as well. If you just look at Dignitas' map vision, they can pretty much see the whole jungle of Evo right now. So they're just in really comfortable shape. It just feels like they have control of the match right now. And they're actually grouped up for another dragon. They've got the timer, and they're going to kill this one as soon as it spawns. And once again, Unstoppable's Alistar is nowhere in sight, not on the complete other side of the map.
Yeah, pings as it looks like what they want to do is pressure down top outer and try to get those turrets back into shape. But Dignitas going to be able to capitalize it with great ward coverage. Crumbs is warned well ahead of time. So they're just going to give this one up as it's not too big of a concern. They're still going to have a 1-tower lead, and Crumbs is going to get out safely. And they get Dragon, and never mind, they're going to maintain that 2-tower lead as they come down onto bottom inner.
It's just a bad trade for Evo. They trade an outer tower for a secondary tower, the inner tower in bottom lane. It's just not a good exchange for them, and it feels like Dignitas is forcing them into those bad trades throughout the game, and they've just gotten Dragon both times so easily. I mean, completely uncontested. And Alistar, Unstoppable, the jungle Alistar, he's been nowhere in sight. He's been on the complete other side of the map. He just has no idea when the Dragon's going to respawn at all. He has no clue what the timers are. So Dignitas is just a complete step ahead right now, and just honestly making Evo look kind of bad so far in this game. That just they've just been so far ahead the whole game. Even not so much the global gold, but just it feels like they're in control of the game. It feels like they're further ahead than they actually are because they've just been really on top of everything with their teamwork thus far. I've been really impressed by their play so far.
Yeah, it's almost a different feel than when a team's sort of getting forced around the map by plays that are being made. It's almost like Dignitas is coaxing Evo into bad spots so that they can make the move wherever they need to at whatever time. Like leaving Aurelia alone up top, they send everybody else up there, and by the time they get there, they pay the price with a dragon and an inner turret. Dignitas making really good shot calls really quickly, and Evo not able to keep up with it so far. The lead's still sitting at about 4,000 gold, 4 turrets to 2, as the turrets keep a TSM Evo pretty much in the same spot, 17.5 minutes off the clock, and Dignitas looking like they're in no hurry to go anywhere for the moment.
Indeed, it's definitely still close enough. Evo is still very much in this match. They just need to get one good fight, and they can completely turn this around. But one of the things that Dignitas has done is, if you've noticed, they've rotated champions around to weird lanes. Like, Ezreal has been ganking lanes. It's like, wait, the AD carry is ganking lanes, but it's been doing that a lot. And Crumbs has been in top most of the time, but he's roamed around the map too. We've seen Karthus in a lot of different spots. They've just been very unpredictable in where their champions have been located throughout the match. And that unpredictability makes it much harder to understand where they're going to be at any one moment. Right now, they have all 5 champs back in mid again. They've got the Oracle. Once again, we see one team getting the Oracle earlier than the other team. There's no Oracle yet. And this could be really bad if Evo's going to face check into this brush.
They got Crumbs pretending to be running interference. The God Hand going to lay down Crumbs. He manages to flash out free. Scar going to continue the chase. The Ezreal ult through is ineffective, and Dignitas going to have to reset on that one as Crumbs goes a little bit too low for them to continue the fight right there. A nice pull through by TSM Evo for what should have been a bait for Dignitas in their favor. Evo able to turn it around fairly nice.
That looked like it was going to be disaster for Evo, but they tossed down the ward, Nat win, hitting on the pole, able to flip that fight, and able to turn it into a win for TSM Evo. So very nicely played right there. Great decision. I'm not sure who tossed that ward over the wall. I'm assuming it's probably Nat win because he's the support. Maybe not, but somebody tossed that ward in there, and that basically saved Evo from what would have been a really bad fight if they had just walked in there and face checked instead.
Yeah, definitely keeping their composure through that one. Going to force Dignitas to recalculate. And like you were saying before, they've been sending people to weird lanes. And I got to notice, too, that they've been sending people to weird lanes at weird times as well. It's almost with the sort of standard way that people have been playing League. You can sort of expect when people are going to roam around and come and see you. But sending 5 people down bottom around 14 minutes or whatever it ended up being, it's just something that doesn't really happen all that often. They're going to take out the ward in that bush. Crumbs rejoins the fight, and they're going to start pressuring Baron once again. Patoy rolling around with little eyeball over his head. Crumbs straight in against 3. He's going to run a little bit low early, but they are going to make Jax pay for that with his life in a big way. Don't Mashby getting pulled out bottom yet with the save there. Skara stays alive. Even with the exhaust, the ult across from Don't Mash Me doing a fantastic job. This ult is going to hurt bad. Double kill onto Graves. Salse, will he get clear of I Will Dominate? He does for the moment. Jump forward, not quite enough to finish Salse off. Can they get him? Gets him with the shot. I'm a cutie pie with a great shot there through to pick up Salse and turn that one into 4 for 2 overall. It was Unstoppable, the only one that got away for TSM Evo.
A great mystic shot there at the end by Cutie Pie to pick that one up. I really thought that Salsi was going to riff walk out of there and survive that. But in that fight, it started with a face check by Crumbs, the Aurelia player, and it looked like that was going to be really bad. But Wings of Death, the Jax player, just got blown up instantly. And the other thing I saw was Scar, the Karthus player, just in the middle of the team, doing what Karthus does, which is stand there and run his Defile, his area of effect damage. And then we saw the double kill after Skara died. Presses R, gets the double kill. Just more damage coming out from Dignitas there. So able to get 4 for 2 in the fight and take mid tower. And they've actually got 5 towers down at the 21-minute mark. So they've just got so much map control right now. The entire bottom half of that jungle on the side of Evo is completely open to invasions right now for Dignitas. So all that global gold, again, they've got both dragons, they've got 5 towers. That is a ton of global gold, and I feel like that's really swinging the match in their favor. And it's going to be really difficult for Evo to win these team fights. They're going to have very good engages, and they're going to have good focus on killing the key champions on the side of Dignitas if they're going to come out on top.
Yep. Cutie Pie and Patoy pushing all the lane in the mid back in the right direction. Karthus got the bottom lane pushed back the right direction. Don't Mash Me's there to clean that up quickly. Dragon's back up. They're going to set on that as Unstoppable roams around and picks up some wards with that fresh, tasty Oracle he has picked up. There's the Dragon number 3. Is that?
Yep, that's the third one.
Dragon number 3 picked up for Dignitas without a fight. And a possibility for Salsa to get caught out in the middle, but it looks like Dignitas not trying to force anything unnecessary here, just going to push the lane the way that they want it to go and continue to control the way the minions are flowing and leave it at that.
Once again, a completely uncontested Dragon. Evo nowhere in sight. Apparently, it felt like they weren't even aware that Dragon was going to be respawning then. They probably didn't know. I don't think they've had the timer for Dragon at any point in time in this game. So, once again, we talked about how it feels like Dignitas is just a step ahead, and it really felt like it once again there. They're just all there. They just kill the Dragon the instant it respawns, and Evo is just not there. So again, it's not that Evo's really playing that badly. It's more Dignitas is just so on top of their game right now, looking very, very impressive.
Yeah, when a team's a step ahead of you, no matter how hard, no matter how good you would normally look at the game, it really just looks like you're missing absolutely everything because they know where you're going to be. It's so rough in situations like this, and certainly, I mean. Evo's not out of it. They've just got to basically hold on to some patience, make sure that there's no free Baron pickup here. They've got wards in the area. They just have to get a little bit lucky and hope they don't get caught out. You see Alistair backing just there, and it looks like Dignitas is going to come in. This could be a little bit of bad luck, but they've got wards in the area, so Dignitas not likely to start things up, and that is going to get Evo into the area. Don't need a bad team fight out of him. Yeah, in a very dangerous situation, he's going to get clear of that wall, and a whole lot of other shots that would have slowed him down as well and keep himself alive. That could have been devastating.
Nat almost got caught by that wall. He just barely missed. I think he could have run out of it anyway, but he almost did get caught by it. Again, neither team is so far ahead that they can just force a Baron in just a straight 5v5. Dignitas is ahead, but I don't think that they can do... Oh, wow, Dominate just got caught, but he spell shields the Graves buckshot. Wow, nicely done right there. Good grab, but nice escape with the instant spell shield by I Will Dominate. Anyway, Dignitas is not so far ahead that I think that they can just force Baron in and of itself. They need to either kill one person or catch Evo in a bad position or something. But if Baron is fighting them while Evo is fighting them, they're going to lose the team fight.
Got that down. I Will Dominate straight in with the ult, and some awkward positioning here for TSM Evo means that Yut's going to go down without a fight. Karth is going to get that one unstoppable, trying to get clear as they'll take whoever is in range for a shot through and a miss with the ult from Ezreal, but they took Blitzcrank off the field. Salse's too low to fight. Will Dignitas just reset up? It looks like they don't want to give it up just yet. Q through, jump out from Wings of Death. Tries the fear, but with Don't Mash Me there, I Will Dominate, going to disengage. Dignitas going to reset. Like I said, just keep waiting. Going to finally take out these wards over here. And TSM Evo not going to give up the fight, but they're putting themselves in a dangerous place. The wall goes down. Wings of Death caught out. Jack's going to get over the wall and clear. Flashes come through for just about everybody on both sides. Don't Mash Me trying to get out. Salse in with a shot. Going to take Aurelia out. The ult from Karthus does nothing, so they're going to lose crumbs in that one. Blitz is back up, and Salse starting to do some serious damage here. And become a potential spoiler here for Dignitas as they've started to go fairly low. Didn't come out of that one looking too good as everybody's back up now for Evo. They might have to just disengage for Baron for a minute. Yeah,
they can't continue this. Salsi actually teleported into that fight. He teleported to a ward and kind of came a little bit to the side of Dignitas, and I do not think they were expecting Salsi to come in from that angle. Was able to get the kill on the crumbs right there. Before that, it was actually a great wall by Skara. I thought for sure that Dignitas was going to get, a 2 or 3 kills, and that then they'd be able to turn into Baron. But fortunately for Evo, they were able to escape out of that. Like I said, it was a great wall from Skara, but Evo able to disengage, able to get out of that. A nice job by Wings of Death. He was able to jump to a ward on Jax, able to get out of there. So we basically have a kind of a stalemate there. In that, out of that whole sequence, nothing really achieved, and the two teams are. After they shove out the lanes a little bit, both teams are just going to head right back to Baron and do what we did before, do the Baron dance, waiting for somebody to make a mistake and somebody to get caught.
Yeah, and the real rough part for TSM Evo right now is it's Dig's lead to give away, and they're just not doing it. It's 5,500 gold out front, and then a couple extra hundred on top of it. Why not? They're actually pushing it towards 6K now, as nobody's really farming at the moment for TSM Evo, but a good team fight is really going to put them in a great place. Conversely, if they lose that team fight, it is going to put Dignitas out front in a way that is extremely dangerous for TSM Evo and is going to force a very, very patient game out of them if they can't hold off Baron or pick up Baron for themselves.
We also are going to see Dragon back up again in about 2 minutes or so we'll see if the game just continues stalling. Dignitas will likely just say, oh, thanks, we'll take another Dragon, but I would expect more action to take place around Baron before we see that happen. Again, all those towers being down for Evo does mean that they have to spend a little bit more time shoving out the lanes. Not a huge deal, but they do have to pay a little bit more attention to that just because they don't have those particular towers. And let's see, more clearing out of wards here right now. Dignitas has done a great job. They cleared quite a few wards with that Oracle on Patoy in this game, and let's see if they decide to make a play for this or not. I'm again assuming that they can't just straight do Baron. It's too risky. They're not far enough ahead to do that, but if they catch somebody out, they can. So we will see. Now Unstoppable is going to come out and clear all the wards that Dignitas just put down, and again, they'll just keep baiting each other back and forth around the Baron. But once I'm a Cutie Pie picks up red buff is really scary on Ezreal. There's a good chance they'll look to fight as soon as Ezreal grabs that red, because once he grabs that red, he can just kite forever, and it makes him that much stronger.
Yeah, and one of the sort of scary things here, one of the probably mildly frustrating things here for Dignitas is the TSM Evo damage dealers have done a very, very good job keeping themselves out of the fight completely. Every time they pick somebody up, it's Unstoppable that's caught at the back, or it's Yutwin who's caught at the back, and that's not who they need to kill to really feel comfortable making a move on Baron with the lead that they've got. So, kudos to Evo for that. The damage dealers have been getting clear of the fights. If you see somebody like Salse or Don't Mash Me come down, all of a sudden there's going to be a whole lot to think about for TSM Evo as to how to convince Dignitas that they don't want to go on Baron pretty much immediately.
So unfortunately right now we're really not seeing any action. A lot of people on both sides going back to buy, pick up another item or so, just continue farming. The Dragon is back up. We'll see if either team decides to shift over there. In terms of items, we are seeing quite a few items getting finished on one side or the other. We have Trinity Forces on both Jax and Aurelia. Looks like Aurelia is going for Guardian Angel next. It's too early to see what Jax is picking up as his next item. Graves has Phantom Dancer and Bloodthirster. Ezreal has Infinity Edge, and it looks like he's going for either Last Whisper or he's going for his own Trinity Force after that. We'll have to see. But Dignitas has cleared out the wards, and they actually are going to make a play for this Baron, and I don't think Evo's in position to stop this.
I think Evo was taking a look down at Dragon. There was even a ping down there as if to say maybe they're going to go for this, and that is a very, very quick Baron indeed. They've got it done. Ult across. Going to start this one off the right way. I will dominate in with an ult to push people out the back. Wings of Death. Unstoppable X going to be the first one down to Ezreal. Wings of Death going to do it down shortly thereafter. Karthus with the kill on that one. Salse gets clear, if just barely. Yutwin and Don't Mash Me back to reset the lane as much as they can. But Baron buff 2 major players out of the fight now. Unstoppable, their main tank, and Wings of Death putting some good DPS in the middle of the fight. So it's going to be a rough one here as they try to hold. They do have their major carries up. Salse has been putting out good damage the entire time. Can he hold this one? No, he gets a little out of position. Luckily, he's got free flash all day, so he gets clear. Don't Mash Me trying to dissuade them, but just can't do it. And Yutwin not really being presented with anyone worth trying to pull across. The ult comes out and does almost nothing across the Dignitas team. They get the mid inhibitor and clear. None of the other lanes pushing in the directions they need to, unfortunately, for the moment. Looks like a move of Dragon now. Everybody back up for TSM Evo.
That was an easy mid tower with 2 people dead on TSM Evo. No way that they can hold that mid inhib. So easy inhib kill. Again, that's just the worst possible situation for Evo. They get to Baron right after Dignitas has killed it, and I'm not exactly sure why they all left. I guess they just assumed that Dignitas was doing Dragon when they weren't. They went straight to Baron instead, as you pointed out a minute ago, Wombat. But their timing could not have been worse. They get to the pit just after the Baron dies. Their team gets completely split by the Karthus wall. Scar's wall was perfect. It just split Evo completely in half. And right now, while Salse is actually quite low, almost gets taken out by Ezreal ult there that flies completely across the map. It's pretty funny, but yeah, so Dignitas cleans up 2 kills, grabs Baron, grabs middle inhib, grabs their 4th Dragon of the match, and now they've got, what, a 10,000 gold lead, and they are well in the driver's seat. It feels like they've been ahead the whole game, although this is the first time the gold lead has really reflected that. But we've just been talking about this throughout the match. They've just dictated the action so much. I almost don't feel surprised to see this. I almost feel like this was inevitable with how much control they've had throughout the match. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to Evo. I've just been really impressed by Dignitas throughout this match. But like we said, at this point, their game to lose. They're going to have to mess up. I'm assuming they're just going to group up and try to push a lane, and it looks like it's going to be top lane.
Yeah, and really 10,000 gold is that sort of sweet spot where comebacks at that amount of gold at this level are kind of 1 in 1,000. I can remember the couple that I've seen, CLG coming back from a 10k gold deficit at one point, but it takes some insanely patient and calculated play and just the tiniest of mistakes from Dignitas to try to give them that opportunity. But the way Dignitas has been playing so far this game, they don't look like they want to give them that opportunity at all. Trying to push down on top inhibitor turret now, poking back and forth, yet thinking of pulling somebody through, but if he gets the wrong person, that could just turn into an initiation.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, when you're this far behind, it's not really about being patient or being careful. It's about the other team needs to screw up. They need to make a mistake. Yeah, I mean that's basically what it is. If they play correctly with this big of a lead, they won't lose. It's about them getting caught out of position or going in when they shouldn't go in or making a mistake. So it can happen. I mean, we've seen it happen in tournament play. We've seen bigger leads than this loss, for sure, but it takes mistakes. Yeah, but it takes mistakes. So here we go.
So Skara down to half health, Wings of Death in onto him, but he's still got plenty of support at the back as they continue to move on. Salse thought the ult was gonna, the ult did get that one. That was Patoy picking up Wings of Death at the backside of that one. Ezreal with the double kill. He's gonna get clear. I will dominate back in, and Crumbs comes back on the Guardian Angel. They're gonna get that top inhibitor turret. They don't have a push just yet. One is on the way in. And the super minion still kind of hanging out just outside here. They're going to try and force the push in. Don't mash me, the only one up with a hope of taking anybody out. Skara's alive, but certainly still got zombie form. No, they can't pick up Ezreal as he gets clear. Graves going to trade with Karthus there, unstoppable. Going to take some damage, and there's the ace as Ezreal gets that one as well. In come the super minions, and they've got 3 seconds till Yut's up. Don't think he's going to be the guy they need to shut this one down, so they've got basically 7 seconds. Gets Crumbs across, not going to be able to affect much of a kill on that one as the sun comes out immediately off of Aurelia there, and they're just going to go to town on the turret. Looks like a baby GG. In come Wing of Death and Salse. They just keep focusing on the turret, nobody even dying at the end there. Nicely done by Dignitas for game 1.
Yes, indeed. So a little message coming out there. Your flawless victory is over for I Will Dominate. But yeah, anyway, it's just impressive by Dignitas all throughout that game. It just felt like they were a step ahead the whole match. And eventually they were